This is an RNZ podcast.
And that means it is time for the third annual Midweek Mediawatch Awards, the glitziest night in media that you can enjoy through the medium of live radio. And so to present the awards, I'm joined in our Wellington studio by the one, the only Mr. Mediawatch himself, Colin Peacock, who is pressed and polished. He's in his tails and his top hat. I'm not sure whether he brought his monocle, but he is ready to pass judgment. Colin, kia ora.
Kia ora. Did you call it the glitziest night or the glitchiest night?
The glitziest
night. Okay.
Because I don't like to tempt fate, Colin.
Give it time. Give it time.
Give it time, exactly. All right, where are we going to begin? Music Broadcaster of the Year.
Yeah, last year, now just who carried this one off? Oh, last year was it Emile, Donovan?
It was me, that's right.
It was, yeah. In fact, we should point out that you weren't on deck for last year's Midweek Mediawatch.
That's right. I was off walking the Milford. Yeah, that's right. It was Maggie on, right?
Yeah, that's right. Maggie Tweedy was here. You had better things to do. You got it for playing the not really fit for radio. Is that a fair description of the Dixon Della song?
I think that's probably, well, it depends on your appetite, really, doesn't it? I think the BSA would probably decide that it would be ill-advised to play Good Looking by Dixon Dallas again on the radio if I were considering it.
Yeah, and certainly RNZ would. But remarkably, on the same day last year, Jesse Mulligan, the sweary version and the gunshot-ridden version of Paper Planes. Quite a day of RNZ National pushing the boundaries. We thought it might be some sort of new policy to surprise and startle listeners, but it really wasn't. Now, this year, I could not find. I trawled through, I looked back, could not find any instances of inappropriate music being played in that sense to give an award of that magnitude, which is a bit of a shame. But just in terms of soundtracking stuff, one bit of music that did catch my ear, and this, if we're going to give an award for it, would go to New Zealand First political party and whoever runs their social media accounts. So this is where Winston Peters, was the foreign minister, of course, was offered an East Asian summit in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and the party were trying to play up his statesman-like appearance and big him up. So they had footage of him exiting a limo and getting the official welcome. And whoever runs their accounts decided to jazz it up with some of the more kind of familiar music that you might see on TikTok videos.
Announcing the arrival of His Excellency Winston Raymond Peters, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of New Zealand.
Governments come and go, but people-people relationships are essentially what you're trying to ensure is enduring, because that will stand the test of time.
I feel like I can see the images as well, Colin.
It was a bit of a mashup
dramatic
of the images and that what sounds like a phone interview of him saying.
Well, that's the only criticism that I would have, is that the mixing. I'm no sound engineer, but I feel like some of our sound engineers might have a question or two about the mixing and the levels of that. But I mean, I'm sure it achieves what it set out to do.
Do we know the genesis of that music? Because it's on millions.
It's on a lot of
videos.
TikToks, isn't it? I've tried to look for it before because I actually quite like it. I think it's kind of cool and dramatic, but I'm none the wiser, Colin. Yeah, we'll give that an award. Go on.
Okay. Well, in the absence of anyone following up in your footsteps from last year with some truly not fit for radio music.
Well, it depends. So it's all about the entries, though, isn't it? Sometimes The Godfather is competing at the Oscars, and sometimes it's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Now, we also like to give out a prize for journalists being frank and maybe lifting the curtain a little, saying things that might not reflect well on them, and acknowledge that this year. Now, Hayden Donnell, who was doing
that guy.
Yeah, Midweek Mediawatch. We hoped he might be able to join us, but he's otherwise occupied, a bit like you were last year. I turn up every year.
You do.
Yeah.
He was the assistant Midweek Mediawatch, wasn't he?
Absolutely,
that was on his
I'm going to say he's a full member because he did every second week, just like I did. And I know he actually came in and sat with you in the studio. You didn't have to talk down the line to him like you do to me. Mm-hmm. And then he left us. He got another offer and decided to, which is fine, no bitterness. Not long after he left, he was on a parenting podcast. He made a rather surprising admission. So here it is.
I know nothing I just want to put that disclaimer out there. I am an idiot.
Yeah, they already know that by now, Hayden. It's fine, don't worry.
Thank goodness. I've made
We've
that
been talking
clear.
for half an hour. They know.
This is a nice dynamic. Do you call your other guests an idiot, or is it just that's just a little thing for
Just
family
you.
members?
That's just for you.
Okay, sweet.
Why do you parent like that?
So Hayden reacted really defensively there, didn't he? Because
Well, he did.
she wasn't calling him an idiot.
No,
She was
he
agreeing.
did. He called himself an idiot, and he
Exactly.
tried to blame shift it. I thought that was revealing in a way, but in the course of trying to deprecate himself, is that the right term?
Yeah, sure.
A bit of self-deprecation. So yeah,
Admirable reflection from Hayden Donnell. We'll give him a posthumous award.
posthumous award. That's right. He hasn't actually died. He's
No,
just
he hasn't actually died. Just
working
clarification.
elsewhere and not turning up to this. But so and actually, sometimes on these awards in the past, we have given an award to sort of empty chair of the year. But last year we gave it to Jack Tame, I think, for at length. Giving these very comprehensive accounts of why certain cabinet ministers hadn't turned up. And I could have cut, but we did this only, what was it, last week?
It was
Or the
last week, I
before?
think.
Last week, Christopher Luxon, the Prime Minister, having strung along...
He doesn't have
the
much
Q&A show.
competition. Not many people empty chair. I suppose there aren't that many programs of that nature on air anymore, are there? And so
Well,
you don't see too much empty chairing going on these
There,
days.
there was some quite impressive empty chairing. Actually, if I'd thought about this a bit more deeply, and now I regret it, maybe we could give out an award anyway. The Juggernaut 2 podcast by the Spinoff and Toby Manhire, repeated instances and some quite pointed ones, because Winston Peters, who of course is a massive figure all through the 6 episodes, didn't engage with it, whereas so many others did, including Jim Bolger, who recently died, and that gave it an extra poignancy. But
It's a bummer, isn't it? I would have loved to have heard from Winston Peters in the context of that podcast.
Well, Toby, I just listened to part 6, the final part, today, because I hadn't caught up with that one, and he repeats it then, saying we would love to do a 7th episode.
Yeah.
And so maybe that could be empty chair of the year.
A Sponty award to Toby Manhire. Congratulations, Toby.
That's right.
Now, a hotly contested category, denigration of the year, Colin, which I know is one of your favourites.
Well, yeah. In fact, it's very rare that denigration or discrimination in denigration, it's a broadcasting standard. It's very rare that that is breached in the broadcasting domain, because the bar is set pretty high. Because although the Broadcasting Standards Authority have come under a lot of criticism, and in fact still are under scrutiny from free speech favouring groups for curtailing it, they would say that they protect freedom of expression and indeed support it, albeit that they are trying to protect New Zealanders from harm. Anyhow, 3 times in a 5-year span, it was breached, this standard, by 3 different hosts on News Talk ZB. There were Heather Duplessis-Allen, Barry Soper and Kate Hawkesby. So no one breached that this year, so far as I am aware. But I thought this one was a little close. And this is from the same network, News Talk ZB, and this is Ryan Bridge.
After COVID, everyone just turned into a little sookie bubba. Oh, I don't want to go to work. I've got the sniffles, or, I'm socially, what's the new thing they say? Everyone's got ADHD, we know that. Everybody's got a little bit of autism, even though they don't. And social anxiety, that's the other one. I've got social anxiety, I can't leave the house. Come on. How many people had social anxiety in 1910?
I'm saying possibly the people that had it back then were locked away in asylums and things like that, and not able to talk to the media and social media and communicate their anxiety. So that possibly would explain that. No whole swathes of society cast into utter condemnation there, so not actual denigration. But I think there are people with autism, and people who know people with autism might think that was a little bit casual.
To the predictions, of course, easy to make. Everybody has predictions and opinions, much as everybody has a nose. Where should we start with this, Cole?
Well, it's another News Talk ZB heavy category, I'm afraid, in the nominations, although not all bad in this instance. So actually, to start with someone else, though. Do you remember during the US election campaign last year, John Key raised eyebrows when he said Trump would be better off for the world economy and for New Zealand specifically with trade? And also during the campaign, News Talk ZB's drive host Heather Duplessis-Allen also said she wanted Trump to win the election, and this was her reason.
So I don't think Trump's as scary as everybody else, and I also think he's hilarious. He'll be heaps more fun than Kamala Harris. I rest my case, 16 away from 7.
So, I mean, technically not a prediction, just an expression of her preference, but has it really been fun
Well, everybody
Trump's
has their own sense of humour, I suppose, don't they, Cole?
Technically not a prediction, fair enough. And neither was this one too, but I think this is quite impressive. Marcus Lush, who I guess is your direct rival, isn't he?
Indeed.
On nights, he'd be broadcasting right now on News Talk ZB all the way to midnight. I think he goes a bit longer than you. But this is an encounter he had, which didn't start promisingly, but Marcus Lush himself, who's been on air for a very long time, rates it as possibly his finest moment of radio.
Your phone line's not good. Are you down a well?
No, I'm just sitting in my car. I'm just getting some fish and chips sort of thing. So yeah.
Oh, what you having? Let me guess your order. Don't tell me. $17?
Yeah, you can't buy it. It's a little bit more than that, Mark. No, pretty close, Mark. It's pretty close.
You'd have a bit of fish.
Yeah.
You'd have half a scoop of chips.
Yeah.
And then you'd have something like a battered sausage and a pineapple ring as well, would you?
I don't want to give you the head swell, but you're 100% correct.
You're joking.
You're 100% correct.
You're joking. Have I got it without a word of a lie? Have I guessed that perfectly?
100% correct.
That's my best moment in radio.
That is actually quite impressive.
It is, isn't it? I mean, do you think we need to fact check this? Do we?
No, that's quite good, actually.
Yeah, the guy was actually kind of
like
concerned. He goes, "Bloody hell, Marcus, do you have drones up following me or something?" He was a little bit. But I mean, you're a night's host. Could you pull that off?
Only one way to find out, I suppose, Cole. Give me a call next time you're off to the fish and chip shop, eh?
Pineapple ring, though?
I
thought that was the thing that no one ever
Are you
ordered.
Serious?
Pineapple ring?
A pineapple ring?
Oh,
Mate, pineapple. I get a pineapple ring every time I go to any fish and chip shop. I'll get the pineapple ring.
Oh, God, they're like the thing out of the tin full of the sugary oh, dear. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
a deep fried goodness, Colin, and I won't hear a word against it.
well, you're entitled to your opinion, same as, people who win the American presidential elections.
All right, let's do a segue then, Colin, into the light and fun segments of the award. So please announce your contenders for the most effective manipulation of the media in 2025.
Yes, which we've previously called the Leading Media by the Nose Award, possibly a better title. So first up, not going to give the award to Brooke Van Velden, Workplace Minister, but we'll give her a nice try award. So she put out a press release about workplace reform every day for 5 working days in 1 week on workplace reform, which turned out to be really not a whole lot. In this audio, you can hear Stuff's Lloyd Burr pretty exasperated at being summoned to the tiles for a stand-up press conference only to discover there really was no story.
What changes are you planning to make in the scaffolding area?
Well, we don't know yet, and that's the exciting part about this.
What exactly are you announcing today? Are you announcing that you're going to look into something?
We're announcing that we are consulting with the sector. And look, this might sound like a small thing for you, but I know it's really big.
Okay. Yeah.
And Lloyd Burr wrote a piece about that, which had a very funny headline, which I haven't noted down. It was something like, 5 consecutive days of non-news announcements by ACT. But I guess, they kept turning up, right? Maybe, you get summoned by them, you turn up to see what they're going to say. The next, I'm going to call it a runner-up for leading the media by the nose. Amazon Web Systems opened their big data centre.
Of course.
And the PM's promotional help. He went on the Mike Hosking breakfast, and Mike Hosking said, "This is fantastic, $800 million of investment, thousands of jobs. This is terrific." But it turns out this had all been promised 5 years earlier and was not actually what Amazon had promised to build. They were actually using, putting up racks in existing data centres, not building their own ones. So there is more cloud computing as a result of what Amazon has done, but it certainly wasn't what they announced 5 years ago. And yet all the same figures about the impressive economic boost that this would create in Auckland were being regurgitated. So although it's not really the main angle, it did prompt Chris Hipkins, the Labour leader, to launch what was, to me, a quite new insult at the Prime Minister, which was comprehensively and impressively explained and fact-checked by TVNZ's Benedict Collins.
What does Fig Jam stand for?
Christopher Luxon is the Fig Jam Prime Minister. I think people can have a lot of fun Googling that.
So we Googled it.
Fig jam is Australian slang to describe someone who is overly boastful of their abilities. Fig jam stands for I'm good, just ask me.
I mean, the point being there that he was accusing the Prime Minister of taking credit for something that wasn't what had been declared 5 years ago, and the government was different back then, so that's why Chris Hipkins turned it into a party political thing. But
so those are our highly commendeds, are they?
Yeah, they are. But I don't think you'll be surprised when I tell you that the outfit that led the media by the nose more impressively and more comprehensively than any other is a certain Swedish manufacturer of household furnishings, IKEA. When they opened that huge shop just a couple of weeks back, I'm going to say they got all the publicity that money can buy, but they didn't need to because they got it for free from the media. But actually, some of the cheesiest was the stuff that IKEA actually did pay for. They created this sort of sponsored content partnership with the 7 Sharp show on TV NZ1 for what they call the Swede as Roadshow, which saw these hosts travelling the country and plugging IKEA all over the place. And when they got to a location in Manawatu that they didn't even name, the fill-in host, Daniel Faitawa, I think insulted the entire region with what was meant to be this kind of comic intro to the show.
On the Swede as road trip, thanks to IKEA. And look, you can really feel that clean country air in your lungs. I can actually think I can smell... What is that? I'm not sure what that is. Is that manure?
I think it might be, but it's all part of it. Don't worry about that. Now, reading a book is a simple pleasure.
Weird, eh? Like, they're connecting IKEA to Aotearoa and trying to make them seem like part of the nation when clearly it's a foreign startup and an international megalith. I think that's very strange that they would have the 7 Sharp hosts kind of sniffing there and going, ooh, it smells like... That's the smell of rural New Zealand, isn't
it just? Indeed.
If I was IKEA, I might want my sponsored content money back.
Turns out New Zealanders love Swedes, though.
Well, they do now, but I don't know if you remember we did this on Midweek Mediawatch back in 2022. There was this thing that went semi-viral when ZM's Fletch Vaughan and Megan peddled this myth that Swedish people don't feed non-invited guests.
Yes, that it's not the done thing.
Kids
yes,
on
exactly.
sleepovers.
Yeah.
And was that a thing before they amped it up? I mean, it can't have been them that invented it. But it was very weird, and it did take a little bit of debunking, but they were absolutely adamant that if you're a Swedish kid and you turned up with your friend and said, do you want to stay over, that child would not be fed and would have
bring
to go home in the morning.
Exactly. Well, the best live event of 2025 is next up on our Mediawatch Awards of 2025. What are the contenders here? Well,
it could have been Ruth Richardson versus Nicola Willis, but looks like we're not going to get that because they can't organise a debate in a parliament or whatever the saying is. Could have been the Te Pāti Māori media reset, which lasted less than, I think, 4 minutes before Rawiri Waititi took offence at one journalist question and they wandered off. But I think it's got to be the true awfulness of that recent FIFA World Cup draw. And it was covered live by TVNZ. It was 6 a.m, I think, so I didn't bother to get up early to watch it. But I did get up at about 7 or 7:30 or something and turned it on. It was still going with barely a ball having been drawn out. It was so overset. So TVNZ actually did quite a good coverage of it. They had Logan Church visibly shivering outside, and part of the reason for that was because Trump wanted to be there to receive his bogus FIFA Peace Prize. Everyone had to spend an hour and a half outside because of the security screening. But, the whole thing was dreadful, this forced humour, terrible music, and this weird figure of Gianni Infantino, or
kind of dominating
as he was called. Yeah, actually overshadowing Trump himself. But when they awarded him this bogus Peace Prize, just, to basically puff up Trump's ego, they had this announcement with a kind of movie trailer guy saying, listing the so-called 8 wars. Because of President Trump's intervention, there is no longer conflict between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda.
Wow.
And
it was amazing, Colin, by the way. You have a future career in voicing up movie trailers, I think.
Well, they also said he'd brought peace to the Middle East, brought peace to Gaza and Israel, which I don't think is actually right.
Under President Trump's leadership, the historic Abraham Accords were signed, bringing the first real progress in the Middle East in decades. his leadership has ensured that peace exists between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, India and Pakistan, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Armenia and Azerbaijan. President Donald J. Trump's actions have also ensured that peace exists between Israel and Hamas by brokering the Gaza peace plan, and he is making a continued effort to bring a lasting peace between Russia and Ukraine.
And of course, one of the other conflicts they listed that he had settled was Cambodia, Thailand, which, just this very week has been there have been calls for him to step in because he had not sorted it. So absolutely ridiculous. But also, I think, a bit dangerous because there's the football writer Henry Winter wrote this big piece called The Adoration of the MAGA, which is a good title, where he's pointing out that, FIFA is supposed to keep politics and national governments out of sport. You can actually be banned if your government is interfering in your football federation. And even probably the worst bit was all three presidents, Trump, the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, and Mark Carney of Canada, all drew out participated in the draw as guests and all pulled out their own nation from the draw. I mean, what?
Right.
So I think really the worst event. But possibly, though not actually as bad as the online ceremony they had to confirm that Saudi Arabia will be the hosts in 2034, I think it is actually.
Which was astonishing.
Yeah. So they had then a farcical virtual ceremony in which they forgot to mute 200 plus national delegates who were on the Zoom call. So this is what it sounded like.
Are you ready? We can start with the first vote by acclamation. Invites the President to confirm the procedure by joining me in the acclamation, ensuring the screens are on and everything.
Oh, you never heard that?
I've never heard that before. That was beautiful.
They were really, really alarmed, and then someone was lifting their palms up to the air and trying to get them to applaud to give it some sort of normal cadence. But all you could do, 200 plus countries. So FIFA, I think this next World Cup actually could be a huge disaster. They've got the weather, some matches might take hours to complete because of thunderstorms and all sorts. I think and they're going to be played in quarters. They're going to have drinks breaks and ad breaks and all that. It's going to be awful.
And yet the world will watch.
They will.
And I'll be part of it, which, makes me a hypocrite. All right. The media-driven PR disaster of the year, please, Colin Peacock.
Netball New Zealand. That was an extraordinary story. We've talked about it before, but it just had no real resolution, no facts, no names, no straight talking in it. We only had comments like this coming out of the Netball New Zealand hierarchy.
What are those concerns?
Oh, look, I think they are part of a confidential employment matter, and what we're doing is respecting everyone in that process. But as we've said, we have concerns around the Silver Ferns high performance environment and working through those.
Yeah,
right.
So comments like that, spaces, concerns, employment matters, and just unresolved. Yeah, terrible story.
Little competition for that award, it's probably fair to say.
Probably.
The most compelling media criticism of 2025, Colin Peacock, I think, and Midweek Mediawatch have this, 16 consecutive years. Can you make it 17, Cole?
Nah, probably not. No, we're not going to enter our own awards. I did enjoy the way that periodically Mike Hoskins, producer at ZB, Glenn Hart, he assembles a daily podcast of highlights from the show and often takes down the host from time to time. And here's an example from September.
But along with the mad open classrooms, isn't it fascinating how forward the old days appear to be?
Yeah, so there you go. Mike Hosking loves it. Apparently parents love it. Principals love it. Erica Stanford certainly loves it. I just feel like there's one group of people we haven't talked to about what they want. The kids, the students. Who cares? Who'd ask them anyway? Who cares what they think?
That was very funny.
I think it's a standard. I think all producers should be able to deconstruct their own show like that with their own commentary.
Well,
afterwards.
Bonnie's had a couple of goes at that on the Night's quiz appendix, hasn't she?
I think so, and you should make it a standard. Also, media criticism coming from in that protracted NZME boardroom takeover. Jim Grennan, the Canadian billionaire who now owns 18% or so of NZME and the Herald.
And there's an interesting court case as well that's being funded by Jim Grennan, which is an interesting story.
Yeah, this is suing TVNZ for defamation. That's Julian Batchelor, the Stop Co-Governance guy. Turns out it's been revealed in the last couple of days that James Grennan is bankrolling his court campaign. So a lot of criticism of, or attempts to reform journalism as part of his attempted boardroom takeover at NZME. But I think also this thing we've seen this year, David versus the media, David Seymour of the ACT Party creating an entire YouTube channel about opposing the media, the premise being filming and posting all his interactions because, as he says, you cannot trust the media to edit them. Came to the head with this exchange when TVNZ's John Campbell filmed a long sit-down interview for TVNZ with David Seymour, and Seymour's guy was there to film it for their own channel. I don't think there's ever been anything like this on New Zealand TV before.
So, Andy, hi, Andy. Nice to see you. So, Andy is rolling on this. This is presumably for David versus the media?
Something like that.
Yeah, for your social media page?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, that seems to me to be being very good at politics, right? So what Andy's doing is he's going to put it up.
Well, it's not politics, though. I mean,
no, it is, because it's about speaking directly to your constituency, isn't it? And what are your big views?
We go to duty to be open to people, and what we found is that for years people in the media abused the power to edit.
I mean, that was a remarkable exchange, I thought.
It really was.
And, really and interesting, too. Interesting to listen to their different perspectives.
Yep, indeed. And there was more to it as well. It's worth seeking out the long version of
that. Colin, you have one more award, the most important of the bunch, the Best Picture, the Billy Connolly Trophy for a single animal in the national news. Yeah, so last year we had Thomas Mead of TVNZ. He had a single mouse running amok in an Auckland supermarket. That was after the drama we saw in Dunedin with rats in the supermarket. Nothing quite like that this year, but we did have an alligator that swallowed a jandal at Auckland Zoo. And that was not covered by the media. Tragically, it was only on Facebook that the zoo announced that they'd done an endoscopy and announced that the jandal had passed. They found lots of digested meat, or semi-digested meat and vegetables, but the jandal had been previously expelled, and I just wonder, why wasn't the media live streaming that? The jandal company could have turned that into some excellent marketing material. Colin Peacock, it's been a delight throughout the year. Thank you sincerely, and happy holidays to you.